Right, good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending when you're watching this, to year 8s or anyone else that decided they thought they'd have a little watch. Now, if you are in my year 8 top sets and you've not yet done the test, then get back onto that, do the test first, then this is to help you after you've done it, okay? If this is a few days later, whatever, don't panic, just get back on, do the test first, then come to this. All right, you can still submit stuff to me, but this is designed for you to go through the test after you've done it. And I'll sort of point out, you need to go to question 3 and 5, and you can, fast forward through it to get to the right parts, okay? Right, so question 1. Oh, by the way, as well, I've got to say, this was a tough test. This wasn't easy. I think, where I normally say aim for about 70%, I haven't marked all of them yet, but I think if you're getting sort of 50% on this, then you've done a good job. You get 70%, you've done an outstanding job, and you get 90 plus, then wow, phenomenal, okay, because this was a hard test, all right? But that doesn't mean, stop the video now, don't worry, Mr. Ash is happy with 50%. You want to try and, push yourself, see what else you can get out of this, because there are questions on here that will be either on the GCSE or very similar questions will be on the GCSE. So I know that's a few years down the line, but we want to make sure we're getting you as prepped as possible. Okay, so what is the inverse operation of these? That just means what's the opposite? What does the opposite? So multiply, you should be getting divide. I don't mind if you just write the divide sign. And square, a lot of people go for cube here, but if you squared something, to get back, you wouldn't cube it, you would square root it. Okay, and that's all you can write really for those two. Solve the following equation. You've got 12x equals 36. That means to get rid of that times by 12, you do the inverse. That's why we started talking about inverse straight away. You divide both sides by 12, and you're left with x equals 3. Okay, right. First, solving an inequality. For the most part, it's just the same as equals, but you keep that sign in all the time. There are a couple things with dividing and timesing by negative. You have to change the sort of the way it is, but otherwise, just almost ignore it to a certain extent. Treat it as an equal sign, but don't write equals. Don't change it to an equals, because then your answer would be incorrect. I think the other thing I just want to mention quickly now, I've seen a lot of people that have just written sort of the answer without the x part. Now for this one, if you wrote just 4 and the answer is x equals 4, for example, then you'd be fine. But if you write a number without the inequality sign, then you are going to lose a mark. Okay, so be aware, make sure you keep that inequality sign so you end up with something like x and then a sign and a number. Okay, right, let's see what we're going to do here then. So here we want to get rid of this minus 4, so we're going to add 4 to both sides, leaving us with x over 3. The minus 4 and add 4 cancel out, that's the whole point. It's bigger than or equal to 9. And then we're going to get rid of that divide by 3, and that's what that is. It looks like a fraction. I mean, it is a fraction, but it essentially means x divided by 3. So we times by 3 to do the inverse of the divide, and we're left with, well, that cancels that out, that's the whole point. We're left with x is bigger than or equal to 27. And that's what I mean. You can't just write the answer 27, done. You need that bit, the whole part for this one. Okay, anything with an inequality sign, you need the whole thing. Right, the next one. Now this is to do, you've got to make sure you know your bid mass here. That's why it's a very difficult test, because there's lots of little elements to it. Bid mass means you need to know that if you had x, you would square it first, then times by 3. So we do the opposite things in the opposite order. So the last thing we did was times by 3, multiply by 3, whatever you want to call it. So we divide by 3 to get rid of that. Boom. And that becomes x squared is 16. Now, I'm going to give you full marks if you square root that and you get 4. All right? Technically, the perfect answer is x equals plus or minus 4. And you write plus or minus like that, because when you square root 16, it could be positive or negative. I don't think anyone would have done that, but if you did, bravo, that's phenomenal. Okay? Right, question 5. So we've got another inequality. We've got x on both sides, so we're going to get rid of the smaller x. That's a 2x. So I'm going to take 2x to get rid of that because it's a positive from both sides. That leaves me with 2x plus 7 is less than, goes. Plus 19 you could write, but we just know that as 19. Then I'm going to take 7 off both sides. I'm going to go up here. 2x goes. There we go. Well, that bit goes. And I'm left with 12. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. X is less than 6. Next one. Expand it first. Boom, boom. 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times 4 is 20. Okay. We've got 90. Then I take the 20 off both sides, giving me 10x equals 70. And then I divide by 10. Which leaves us with, I'll just cross that out, like it. X equals 7. Sorry about my weird sevens. To be fair, that is a mathematical 7. Just to try and make it really clear. But yeah, if you just wrote normal 7, don't worry at all. Okay, right. If I knew what x was, I would double it. I would take 5 and then I divide by 2. The last thing I said, divide by 2. So I do the inverse of that. That gives me 2x minus 5, and that bit cancels. And then 3 times 2 is 6. I then add 5 to both sides, so I end up with 2x equals 11. And this is our first fractional answer, or decimal answer. I'm going to divide by 2 and get, and I'll accept 5.5 or 5.5. Right, the next one. Right, this is where we've suddenly got a negative here, so that's making me think, oh, this might be a bit trickier. We're going to, now a lot of people I see added 5 here to get rid of this. That means minus 5 times x, minus 5x. Okay, so just remember that. There's your add 1. Let's get rid of that first. Take 1 off both sides. I think most people are happy with the first step. Okay, there it is. But then, to get rid of the times by minus 5, we're going to divide by minus 5. You do that to both sides. That gets rid of that. So you have an x. On the other side, 20 divided by minus 5 is minus 4. But, here's the key bit. I've divided or multiplied by a negative. So my sign flips direction. If you got everything right apart from that flip, you still get 1 mark. But that there is your perfect answer. Right, the next one. Now you've got 3 parts. Now this actually is quite nice. It's just, but only if you know how, if you see what I mean. We just do the same to this bit, and this bit each time. So I want x on its own. So I'm going to get rid of the plus 10. So I'm going to take 10 off there. I'm going to take 10 off there. I'm going to take 10 off there. Which will leave me with 48 is less than or equal to, so that goes, 12x is smaller than, or less than, 108. Then I'm going to divide, to get just x, divide everything by 12. There, there, and there. So I'm left with 4 is less than or equal to x is less than 9. And that there is your answer. X is basically bigger than or equal to 4 and less than 9, but you write it like that. Right. Second page, last page. Going to go to here. Okay. This is an extension, so it's going to be even harder. And it was a hard test already, so apologies there. I'm going to expand this out. And this one, giving me 6x plus 12 equals 4x plus 42. Then I'm going to take 4x off both sides, because that's the smaller x. 2x plus 12 equals 42. Then I'm going to take 12 off both sides to get rid of that. So I'm left with 2x equals 30. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. X equals 15. Done. Okay. And then the really, really nasty one, I'm going to expand this. 12x plus 4 equals x plus 4 over 3. To get rid of the divide by 3, I'm going to times everything by 3. So I'm going to times the left by 3 and the right by 3. Now that cancels that out. And on this side, the whole thing is multiplied by 3. 36x plus 12 equals x plus 4. My x is my smaller one, so I take x off both sides. 35x plus 12 equals 4. Right. Then we're going to take 12 off both sides. Take 12. Cool. This is a jammy one. This is a tough one. Right. Equals minus 8. And then I'm going to divide by 35 on both sides. So really nasty. Don't when you think, when you do see this and think, hang on, that's a weird fraction, do check it. Do sort of think like, did I make any mistakes? So we go back through, I've expanded it right. I then look at the divide by 3. I've times by 3 to cancel it, which times that by 3 gives me 36x plus 12, yes. Leaving with x plus 4 there, yes. I've taken x off both sides, 35x. Yep, so we're okay with that. And then I've got rid of the plus 4 by taking 12 off both sides. Yep, 35x equals minus 8. And then I've divided by 35 both sides, and then there we go. Do check it and think, yep, no, that is right. But I mean, it will be answers sometimes like this, but you're right to think, I just want to double check it. I just realised I just cut the bit bottom off there. So there we have it. Minus 8 divided by 35 is minus 8 over 35, okay? If it was like 12 divided by 3, of course you would just do that division, but with this, you actually would write it as a fraction because 35 does not go into 8. Okay? Thanks a lot. See you later, guys. And sorry about that really, really tough test. Remember, don't panic too much if you struggle on a few questions.